Welcome back to my tutorial. This is video tutorial number 3. Again, in the last tutorial of video number 2, we were discussing about communities and about the interactive lesson that I had created. So again, I'm still in the lesson of communities that I had created. But what I wanted to show you was, so you kind of have a gist of how I had created this lesson and some of the activities that can be featured on your interactive lessons. But I want you to put your eyes towards these two down here at the bottom. You see that there are two options that Nearpod gives you when you give instruction towards these lessons. The first one is live lesson. Live lesson is when you interact with your students as a whole or when students get into groups. Student paced is where students can work at their own pace. My favorite is live lesson because because everyone stays on one accord, everybody, including the teacher and the students. So I wanted to show you a little example of what I'm talking about. So bear with me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over here to the live lesson. As you can tell, you see that there are unique codes. So if you have a live lesson and you launch the live lesson and you want to do it with your students, it will show you a different unique code each time that you log into that lesson. Now, if you're doing that lesson with your students, it's not going to give you a new login code. But if you do it, we'll say, for example, the next day, it will give you a unique code. If you do it as the student pace and the students are doing it on their own, it'll give you a new code then as well. Students do not have to create their account. They don't have to create an account. All they have to do is go to nearpod.com, and all you do is just provide them the code. And once they get to nearpod.com, they type the code in. Now, the code is not case sensitive, so Nearpod is not case sensitive. So, for example, if a student decides to type lowercase instead of all uppercase, it will still work the same as if they typed in all uppercase. If it says this collaborate board is waiting for teacher input, that means it is waiting on me, or it'll be waiting on you. Again, as you can tell, it gives you a different code. So I'll just put in lowercase letters. It'll give the students an opportunity to type their name in. My name is Tiffany, so my first name is Tiffany, so I'm going to type in Tiffany, join session, and we're both on the same slide. So on the left here, this is the teacher slide. So for example, this would be what I use. I would see this on my iPad. The students will see this on their iPad or their desktop. So when they're participating in Nearpod, they can either use their desktop or an iPad or a laptop or Chromebook. The one thing that I love about live lessons is that, like I said earlier, the lessons are all on one accord. The slides are, so students cannot go back or forward or get ahead of you or get behind you, and then I control the slides as well. Again, it talks about the essential question. This gives students an opportunity to answer the question, which kind of buildings, again, are there where you live? We'll say houses. They'll hit the submit button. And when I submit it, of course, it comes to me as the teacher, and it shows who has answered so far. Then this gives the student the opportunity to be able to draw, again, like earlier. They'll click submit when they're finished. And it'll pop up the drawing from the student's work. So again, this is one of the reasons why I love using live lessons, because it keeps every student on accord with you and in sync. That way you can be able to monitor the students more smoothly than you do when students are behind or ahead or not on task. So let me go back to the student paste. Again, we're still in the lesson of communities. Again, I will go, since I have created, I'll go back to my library, go back to my personal folder, go to communities, and then again, you see student paste. This, as you can tell, shows you a different a different code. So it gives you a different code. However, students will still do the same lesson as we just did in the live-based section. However, again, like I said, it just gives them a different code. So usually what I do in the classroom is, if I want students to complete this assignment, I'll usually have this up on the board with the code on it, and they'll go in and complete it. And then at the end of the day, I go in through my account and I see who has completed and who has not completed it. Okay. Next thing I want to show you is how to create a lesson. So if you want to create any kind of interactive lesson, you'll hit create. So you can create your lesson, hit create lesson, and this will show you the areas. This is your first slide. So if I click add slide, I can add any content. I can add a 3D, which is like where students can see a picture of a 360 all the way around. A field trip, videos, audios, PDF, Twitter. You can add web content. Web content is where you can add any videos that are on the website, or you can just download a link from your cell phone, any device, or add activity. Again, some of these include time to climb. We really haven't discussed that one. Open-ended question. Matching pairs is a good one. It's kind of like memory fish or goldfish. Memory match. Quiz, draw it. Collaborate, poll, fill in the blanks, memory test. And you can add slides as much as you want. So within that slide, you can add all of these. So within all these, they have subcategories. And then after you get done with that one slide, then you can add another. The next thing I want to show you is subplans. This is my favorite thing to do. I keep my substitute plans on Nearpod in case of an unexpected absence. I use these as a combination of prepared and created lessons of my own. So this shows you a folder that I had created of my sub plans. When I click it, you can see all these lessons that I can give, that my sub can give my students, rather than just busy work to keep them busy.